Hi, Sharks. Happy Money Monday. It is Financial Sharktress Galit Sadiq here. I am here to talk to you about one of my favorite things, which is savings and interest rates. So, if you've been watching me for a while, then you know how important nerdwallet.com is to my life. And one of the biggest reasons that it's so important to me is because of its help in finding me the best interest rates. So, this was one of the first things that I did for myself when I decided to get really serious about my financial life and my financial livelihood. The first one of the first things that I did was what seemed to me the most reasonable, the safest, the least risky thing that I could do. And that was to move my savings from a low interest savings account into a high interest savings account. Now, at the time, I was with Chase for my savings, and Chase is a brick and mortar, and they've got bills, right? They've got to pay tellers, they've got to pay people to be there in the branches. They have a ton of overhead, and on top of all of that, they need to make hefty profits. So they do not give a lot of interest when it comes to their savings accounts. And I, like most of the people in America and a lot of the people that are listening right now, I had my savings there because it was safe, it was convenient, I knew it was FDIC insured, and honestly, I was just, kind of lazy. That's where my checking account was, and I put my savings account there too. What I did not realize when I did that was that I was effectively just losing money, right? Because what happened was I decided I'm going to get serious about this. I know that interest rates are important. And I looked at the interest rate that I was getting. The interest rate that I was getting on my savings was 0.001. As soon as I saw that, I was floored. I was just like, what? And for those of you who understand or who don't understand exactly why banks give you an interest rate at all, I want you to think about it like this. You are putting your money into the bank, right? You put your money into their pockets. It doesn't stay there. Yes, there is a certain percentage of that, of all of their assets, that has to stay liquid or has to stay, within the bank. But the rest of it, what do they do with your money? They go and they take your money and then do things with it. They lend it out to other people, which other people, when they pay back their loans, they pay back with interest, way higher interest than what you're getting for your money. They are investing in things. They are using your money to make more money for them. And that is why, right, in order to incentivize you into leaving your money there, they give you money in interest. Now, because they are a brick and mortar bank and they understand that they are convenient, they give a very low amount. Now, there are tons of online banks that are FDIC insured that will also take your money and use it to make more money, but they will give you back more interest for having that pleasure, right? You are creating profit for the bank by allowing them to take your money and invest it somewhere else or loan it out. You are creating profit for them. Let them pay as much as you can get for that privilege. So I will tell you, I did this when I was in my early 20s. I decided I wanted to move my money. and I wanted to move it to a bank that was going to give me a higher interest rate. I went on nerdwallet.com. I searched the highest interest savings accounts, and I moved my money that month. And I want you to understand, like, 1 month. In 1 month, I made more in interest than I had the entire previous year at Chase. So just let that sink in. Like, had I been doing that, I would have way more in savings, right? And I just realized, why would I ever go back to keeping my money at a low interest rate? It just doesn't make sense. Now, there are, and I want you to do this exercise of going to nerdwallet.com and checking out the best interest rates, and you also want to pick a bank that is FDIC insured. You also want to pick one that is convenient. So most online banks have very user-friendly interfaces. They have all sorts of cool features. There's one called Ally that will actually allow you to create buckets within one account and save for different things. If you don't need that, like something like Barclays, you could create multiple accounts. In all of these online banks, you can very easily create multiple accounts, nickname them your goals, and save. But what I want you to do is I want you every 6 months, I want you to log into NerdWallet or go into NerdWallet, look up the best savings accounts. What are the rates that you are being given? Go back to your bank account, see what the rate is that you have. And if it is significantly higher on one of the other banks on that you find in NerdWallet, or you can find it anyway. I love NerdWallet because NerdWallet will compare it for me. I don't have to go to every single bank's website and get the information. NerdWallet compiles that for me. They will tell me what banks are most user friendly. You can read reviews. It's just an all around great website for somebody who wants to take control of their financial situation. So I want you to go in every 6 months, check it, and if you are not getting the best rates, if there is a significantly higher rate than what you are getting, I want you to move your money, and I want you to move your money to the higher rate. Now I will tell you, there are a lot of banks that give you very high introductory interest rates. So they'll give you an interest rate of, like, I don't know, 5% for 6 months. And then all of a sudden it will drop to 1%. I am totally fine with you going with that, as long as you make a reminder in your calendar to move the money before the 6 months is up, right? Leave it in for those 6 months and then move the money as soon as it's going to drop down to a lower interest rate. Because leaving it there, you are not getting the best bang for your buck. So if you want to take advantage of the high interest rates, if it's a brief introductory period interest rate, I want you to set a reminder for yourself to change that. And that's why and banks fluctuate, right? Their rates are going to fluctuate. If your money is not in something like a CD where it's a locked interest rate, the bank interest rate on your savings account is probably going to fluctuate a little bit. That is why it is so important to not just leave it alone, right? It is so important to every 6 months, and I'm just saying that as my rule, right? That's my rule. That's what I do. Every 6 months, I check. I see if anyone's giving a significantly higher interest rate, and if they are, I move my money. So every 6 months, I want you to do the same, because that way you'll be able to catch these fluctuations. So Jenny just asked, what is a CD and do you recommend doing that? Okay, so a CD is a certificate of deposit. Now, that is when you lock money away for a specific amount of time. The bank gives you, and usually the longer that you lock it away, meaning you cannot withdraw from it without a penalty. So the longer that you lock it away is usually the higher the rate is going to be. So do I recommend that? In some cases. If you are not going to need that money in that time frame, because once you need that money in that time frame and you withdraw that and you hit the penalty, it is no longer worth it, right? If you are not going to need that money in that time frame, then by all means, if you feel like this is a very high interest rate and you want to grab that, then put it in. I will say that right now in this world, interest rates are fluctuating a lot. So it's something to think about if you really would like to make that choice. Now, something I do tell people, if you want the security of a CD, right, but you don't want to lock away all of your money, then something called a CD ladder might be a better choice for you. Now, a CD ladder is basically kind of what it sounds like, creating a ladder with different CD products. So let's say I had $500 that I wanted to put into a CD, but I don't want to lock away all $500 at one time. What do I do? If I want to put in a CD, what I'll do is I'll get 5 CDs. One for 5 years, another for 4 years, another for 3 years, for 2 years, and for 1 year. So $100 is always going to be coming available. So that means I'll put it in all at the same time, right? The 1 year CD will be up, right? After a year passes, $100 frees up. Do I need it? At that point, I can decide if I need it. If I don't need it, I buy another 5-year CD. A year passes. Now that 2-year CD that I bought is available. The money becomes available. Do I need that $100? Maybe. If not, I'll put it in another 5-year CD. And that will keep going. And so every year, $100 will become available for me to use or to put back in a CD. Each of those CDs are going to be making a different rate of interest. The longer you put it in, the higher the interest rate is going to be. But basically, that's what a CD ladder is. And that way, you can make sure that at least a portion of your money is available to you when you need it. So these are all different ways that you can make sure that interest is involved in your savings, right? Because at the rate of inflation, we all know inflation, we've all been feeling the effects of inflation. We need to be able to make more money with our savings, right? It is very hard right now to say you're going to leave money in the bank and have it not feel like you're losing money by doing that. So at least if you get it into a high interest savings account, and right now, the last I checked on NerdWallet, we were looking at about 4.5 to 5% on a high interest savings account. Like that is a huge difference from 0.01%, right? If you're making 0.01% on your savings, inflation is kicking your butt. At least if you're making 4.5% and you need that money to be liquid, like at least if you're making that much, you're covering a little bit the inflation gap. So That's what I want you to think about. I do not want you to lose money on your savings. I only want you to make sure that your money continues to make money for you, right? That is the dream. That is the goal, to give every dollar a job and have every dollar earn more dollars for you. Jenny said she had no idea about a CD ladder. That seems more reasonable to her. Thank you. Thank you for listening, Jenny. I love it. I love it when you learn something new. And if anyone has any questions about this or anything else, please feel free to comment. Feel free to reach out to me. You know that I always do free 15-minute sessions. So please hop into my DMs. I'll give you the link, or check the link in my bio and you can schedule a discovery call. And on these calls, like, yes, we see if I can be of help to you, but also, honestly, I will give you as much information as I can in 15 minutes. So have an amazing Money Monday. I hope that you learned something today, and I hope that this message got across to you. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share this if you know anyone else who needs to hear it. And I will see you next week for another episode of Money Monday Live. Good night, Sharks.